These notes are over communicating with graphs. And so we're going to start with the first section, which is visual display. So a graph is just a visual display of information or data. So a data table is just a set of organized data. So an example of a data table that actually you'll see on one of your homework assignments later this week, you have this chart, and this is the data table. So it has generally at least two columns that have data points for you to view, okay? At least one of these is going to have numbers, okay? And we're kind of get into it a bit more whenever we actually go to create graphs from data tables. Okay, so when labeling a graph, the important things to note that you need to include on all graphs is a title. It's going to be located at the top of the graph, and it tells what the graph is showing. So if you ever have a graph in front of you that someone's asking you to read, the first thing that you should do is look at the title to understand what the data is showing you. Okay, the x-axis, this is the horizontal one. So on this graph, the x-axis is down here. It's the horizontal one. This is where your independent variable is going to go. Okay, and so we've kind of discussed that in the previous lessons about what the independent variable is. Okay, it's kind of the one that we manipulate or change, or generally it can be time as well. Okay, the y-axis is going to be your vertical one. It is the dependent value, the one that we're actually measuring. Okay, so if we were measuring how far a person is walking over the day, okay, this would be our time. And then the distance they're walking would be this, okay? If we, like for example on this, we have points scored, and then we have the different teams, okay? The different teams are independent, okay? So that's what's changing is the different teams. And then what we're measuring is how many points they scored, so that's on the y-axis. The origin is represented by a dot to show data. Okay, and then the key is necessary if you're displaying more than one set of data. So here it has we have two different lines, and so it labels what color means what. So the darker one means period 1, and the lighter one means period 2. So which type of graph is appropriate? The most common graphs that are used are pie charts, line graphs, and bar graphs. So those are the ones that we're going to be focusing on. So each helps to display data in a different way. So line graphs are useful for understanding general trends and estimating between data points. Okay, so especially in like charts that have time across it, we can estimate, like if I wanted to know if we took how far they've gone every, let's say 10 minutes, okay, we took how far they went, but let's say I want to know a 5-minute increment. I can kind of look in between the two data points that we have and kind of guess at how far they were at that point. Okay, so it's good for estimating between points. A bar graph works well with data in categories. So it's also helpful with trends. So both line graphs and bar graphs are helpful with trends. So categories, they're going to be whenever we have like names of things. So actually this graph would have done well with being a bar graph just because it has categories, team 1, team 2, team 3, instead of numbers that go across here. Pie charts, they represent a part of a data of the total or whole. Okay, so it's going to be in percentages, and we're going to get more into this in our next notes. Okay, on the next page, here's an example of the 3 different charts. So you keep track of how many glasses of water you drink every day for a week. At the end of the week, you have a table that lists how many glasses of water you drink each day. Here are some ways to display the information. So we have a line graph, we have a bar graph, and we have a pie chart. Okay, So which kind of graph would not be helpful in spotting trends? Remember from our notes we just took on the previous page, the best ones to find trends are line and bar. So pie chart would not be as helpful in spotting trends. If you forgot to track a day, what graph would help you guess at how much water you drank that day? Okay, remember we said the one that's best for estimating between data points would be our line graph. Okay, so say we missed this point, based on the trend, we could kind of draw a trend line to figure out an estimate of probably how much water you had that day. Okay, and then which graph will helpfully quickly determine the days when water intake was the same? It would be the bar graph, okay? And in that instance, the bars would be at the same height. So this individual who drank the water never drank the same amount of glasses. Oh wait, yeah, they did. They did on Wednesday and Friday, okay, because they have the same height bar. Okay?